The anxious generation. What happening to boys? 2.
The virtual world welcomes boys.
You know, the trend of boys turning to video games really started back in the 1970s with arcade games like Pong.
That's fascinating. So, what changed for them over the years?
Well, in the 1990s, the internet opened up a whole new world for them with web browsers and 3D graphics.
I can see how that would be appealing. Did it impact their friendships?
Absolutely. They shifted from playing with friends in person to connecting with strangers online, especially with games like Doom and World of Warcraft.
Interesting. But did that really fulfill their needs for friendship?
That's a great question. While they gained agency, it's debated whether virtual interactions truly satisfy their social needs.
What about the technological advancements in the 2000s? Did that change anything?
Definitely. With Wi-Fi and high-speed internet, boys could play for hours alone, connecting with others without leaving their rooms.
That sounds isolating. Did it affect their mental health?
Research suggests it may contribute to anxiety, as they miss out on real-world interactions while seeking connection online. The virtual world consumes boys. Research shows that since the late 2000s, rates of suicide, depression, and anxiety among boys have been rising.
That's alarming. What changed during that time?
Smartphones became widespread, allowing companies to access boys' attention at all hours, not just when they were at home.
So, they have constant access to social media and games?
Exactly. By 2015, many boys were exposed to stimulation levels that were unimaginable just a few years earlier.
That sounds overwhelming. How does this affect their social skills?
Well, the tech industry has made it easier for boys to engage in activities without taking social risks, which can hinder their development. Pornography.
And what about pornography? I've heard it's a big issue for them.
Yes, online pornography has become easily accessible, tapping into deep evolutionary drives that were once fulfilled through social interaction.
That's concerning. It seems like it could impact their understanding of relationships.
Exactly. In the past, boys would have to take risks to connect with girls, but now they can avoid that entirely. Have you noticed how much easier it is for boys to access pornography today? With laptops and high-speed internet, it's just a click away.
Yes, I've heard that it can be quite concerning for their development.
Indeed, a Swedish study showed that daily consumption among boys increased from 11% in 2004 to 24% in 2014.
That's alarming. What about the impact on their relationships?
Heavy porn use can lead boys to prefer the easy satisfaction of watching porn over engaging in real-life dating, which can disrupt their romantic relationships.
I see. So it's not just about the content but also how it shapes their expectations?
Exactly. Studies indicate that after watching porn, many heterosexual men find real women less attractive, which can affect their partners too.
That sounds like a serious issue. Are there any statistics on this?
Yes, a 2017 meta-analysis involving over 50,000 participants found that pornography consumption is associated with lower satisfaction in relationships, especially among males.
Wow, that's quite significant. Are these trends likely to worsen with new technology?
Unfortunately, yes. With advancements like the metaverse and generative AI, the allure of idealized virtual partners may further distance boys from real relationships.
It sounds like a complicated situation for young boys today.
It is. Immersing boys in hardcore porn during their developmental years could impact their future romantic capabilities and relationships. Video games. Have you noticed how video games are often linked to adolescent anxiety?
Yes, I've read that boys tend to have higher rates of internet gaming disorder compared to girls with social media addiction.
Exactly. Interestingly, a meta-analysis confirms this trend globally.
But isn't it true that there are some benefits to playing video games as well?
Absolutely. Research shows that video game use can improve cognitive functions like working memory and even school performance.
That's fascinating. And I've heard some studies suggest that gaming can help reduce depression symptoms too.
Right. One study found significant decreases in depression symptoms when participants played video games regularly.
But there are risks, right? I mean, some kids can develop serious gaming problems.
Yes, particularly heavy users can experience issues. It's not just the amount of time spent, it's how games fit into their lives.
I've heard that during the pandemic, gaming helped some feel less lonely, but it also led to a reliance on games instead of friendships.
Exactly. That reliance can create a vicious cycle of loneliness and anxiety over time.
And what about the classification of gamers? I've seen terms like addicted and problematic thrown around.
Yes, researchers categorize gamers into 4 groups: addicted, problematic, engaged, and casual, based on their gaming habits.
Video game is like a whole new world for the kids. But I've heard some kids struggle with it.
Yes, studies show that about 7% of adolescent boys might experience significant impairment due to gaming, which is quite concerning.
Wow, that means 1 in every 13 boys could be affected. That's a lot.
Exactly. And while only 1 to 2% qualify for gaming addiction, many are considered problematic gamers, facing negative consequences.
What kind of consequences are we talking about?
Well, heavy gaming can lead to missing out on sleep, exercise, and even social interactions with family and friends.
That sounds tough. I heard that 41% of adolescent boys play more than 2 hours a day. That's a huge time commitment.
Definitely. And 17% report playing over 4 hours a day, which can take away from important real-life experiences.
It's interesting how those hours could be spent doing so many other things, like connecting with family.
Right. Like one young man mentioned he regretted not spending more time with his grandfather instead of gaming.
That really puts things into perspective. It's a balance that seems hard to achieve.
All screens and no real-world play. Research shows that while boys are gaming with friends, they're missing out on real-world social skills.
That's interesting. I read that boys today feel lonelier than they did 2 decades ago.
Exactly. In 2000, 28% of 12th grade boys reported feeling lonely, and that number rose to 35% by 2019.
Wow, that's a significant increase. So, is gaming really helping their friendships?
Not really. The quality of those friendships seems to be declining. It's more about quantity over quality.
I see. It's like they're connected but not really bonding in a meaningful way.
Exactly. Most multiplayer games don't teach self-governance or how to resolve conflicts like real play does.
That makes sense. And without those skills, they may struggle in real-life interactions.
Yes, and studies show that the number of men without close friends has increased from 3% to 15% since the 1990s.
That's alarming. It seems like the more they game, the more isolated they become.
Technology, freedom, and meaninglessness. It's interesting to think about how boys' mental health worsened in the 2010s, especially with their access to everything online.
Absolutely, and it raises the question of whether having unfettered access is actually beneficial.
Right. Emil Durkheim discussed how a strong community can prevent feelings of despair and suicide.
He identified anomie as a key issue. When societal norms dissolve, people feel lost and anxious.
Exactly. Modernity has weakened traditional communities, leading to a lack of shared norms for today's youth.
And this generation seems to be drifting through networks filled with unknown faces, which can be disorienting.
Yes, they often lack the roots that previous generations had, which are crucial for developing a sense of belonging.
It's concerning that they are navigating a world of fleeting connections instead of stable relationships.
And studies show that this disconnect can lead to feelings of anomie and despair, making it hard to find meaning.
It's a stark contrast to the past, where communities provided support and guidance for growing up.
Indeed, children need to feel anchored in their communities before they can venture into the wider world.